the end of the autumn term, almost. But before then, it's a busy time for staff, students and governors. Christmas is coming. There are bazaars to be organised and staffed, decorations to be made and hung, the tree to be sorted, and it's a time for a different sort of celebration when leavers come back to school to receive their GCSE certificates showing what they achieved last year. And then, as if to remind us that hard work goes on, the SATS results are published. Analysing SATS results and celebrating success is all about looking back, but what the governing body has to do in the autumn term is look forward. It has to agree targets for the future.
And we are being held more accountable for targets, making those targets or failing to reach those targets than ever before.
Coming up in this programme, why the caretaker governor at One Devon Primary has the target of the school's swimming pool in her sights.
At the moment, when the young children go in the pool, they haven't got a handrail.
How governors at One Bristol Primary School have set targets for parents as well as children.
Parents would be a bit reluctant to do it because of their children, wouldn't they?
And how the governing body at a Bristol secondary school works with the head teacher to establish academic targets. Marius Frank, head teacher at Bedminster Downs School in Bristol, takes the governors through a data resource the school uses. It's called the Fisher Family Trust, and its data helps the governors take into account the social context of the student population when they begin to set targets. Because achievement is influenced by social indicators, it makes sense to factor them into the governor's ambitions for the school. Data from the trust helps them do this.
There are 4 sets of estimates, A, B, C and D. This figure shows what the school has to do to contribute to the LEA targets that have been set, that the DFES has set Bristol. Target setting can be a very, very complex process. It can also be very easy, and it really depends on the amount of information you have to hand and how much you decide to share and how much detail you suggest to go into.
How far are the pupil numbers, Maris?
Pardon?
How far out are the pupil numbers, you say? There were some discrepancies? Is that fairly accurate?
That's fairly accurate.
Right.
Governors do challenge targets because the first point is there's no point in setting a target unless it's challengeable. Also, though, the targets have to be achievable targets. They have to be rigorous to make sure they're going to work. Staff and pupils have to understand what the targets are so they can be achieved. And also, because I live in the community, I understand the sort of levels of achievement in this area. So it's no point in setting an unrealistic target because we'll never achieve it.
Over the past term, we've lost 2 kids who are capable of getting 5A to C grades.
Right. Skews it slightly, doesn't it?
It skews it slightly. So maybe 35% is realistic for us, yeah? Working with the governing body is absolutely crucial in getting the right context for your target setting. As a head teacher, I have to assure that I'm presenting to the governing body a balanced view. In other words, this was last year's achievement patterns, and this was last year's value added that we've achieved. This is where we propose to be in 2 years' time. And then I would have to articulate to the governing body the rationale for my target setting. Am I being ambitious? If so, what's the evidence I'm doing that? How do we compare against targets set, well, against benchmark groups, for example, in terms of prior attainment, and also in terms of the social deprivation that the pupils have? And if I, in an honest and candid way, have that discussion with governors, they can ratify or perhaps challenge the targets I'm presenting to them.
But are these figures recognised by the LEA?
The LEA has distributed the Fisher Family Trust database to us.
We may ask Maris to lower the target if we think it's set too high, because there's nothing like underachieving, is there? They say that just makes everybody feel bad. So if that target can be made realistic and then it's exceeded, then that's a bonus and everybody feels on a high then because they've actually exceeded the target that was set. So I think it is crucial that the targets are set to a realistic level.
SATS results will certainly influence the targets that primary schools set, but governing bodies will have ambitions for their school beyond levels of achievement in literacy, numeracy and science. Jeanette Harper is caretaker and governor at Two Moors Primary in Devon, and she's on a mission to make the renovation of the school's swimming pool a target for this year. She's taken the other governors to the pool to see for themselves what needs to be done.
And we're talking about having a new lining put in.
Right.
That will save having to do more work on the walls, and we've had 3 estimates back, which the swimming pool is very important to me because a lot of children in this area wouldn't have the chance to go swimming if we didn't have our swimming pool. We're very lucky. I think there's only 3 in Devon now. One of them in particular is talking about a cheaper one, but that will only give us 5 years guarantee on the lining and not 10. So
governors come in all shapes and sizes, and different individuals will bring differing skills to the governing body. And yes, they need to feel that they want to know what is going on in the school, but they need have no detailed knowledge of current educational legislation or anything of that nature.
I volunteered to become a governor because, being a caretaker, I felt I knew more what was going on in the school than perhaps other people, so I thought it would be a help.
So I guess we need to sit down, do we look through the quotes in detail,
yeah,
and then make a decision and then put it to the Finance Committee?
yes.
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Right.
See, part of the
Jeanette has certainly done her homework. She's researched the costs of different options for the pool, and back inside the staff room she continues to put her case.
And the highest was 11,880.
So why was the highest one 3,000 at least higher than the other ones?
They were really putting in a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
not what
the
others
highest
did.
one.
Yeah, that's.
So there aren't the ladders and things like that aren't included within the other quotations then?
They are, but I don't know if they're quite as good because they have sometimes it's very hard, you know, to put your case over because feeling that I'm only the caretaker, they might think that I'm being a bit finicky on a few things, you know, which I feel is important, but they might not.
Expertise.
Yeah.
So have Jeanette, Owen, say myself,
Yeah.
and you, Roy?
It looks as though her hard work has paid off. Renovating the swimming pool will be a target for the school this coming year. The governors at Gay Elms Primary, a school in an education action zone in South Bristol, have different priorities. The school had been in special measures, and one of Ofsted's criticisms was that the school wasn't doing enough to include parents. So involving parents became one of the governing body's targets.
It'll be funny, the men have put breakfast. Yes. Why shouldn't the women have breakfast?
Breakfast for a big sandwich or something like that.
You've got to have all the basics to start, haven't you? So
One of the main failings through Ofsted was lack of parent involvement, really, because no parents were involved at the school at the time. There was no fundraising groups or anything. So we got together a group of parents and became the PTFA, which is the Parents, Teachers and Friends of Gay Elms School. And I think we've been running now for about 4 years. And, you know, we organise fundraising groups like Halloween discos, barbecues, Christmas discos, bazaars, book sales and things. The school has like a wish list. And obviously the top priority on that wish list, then we draw the money from our account and it goes back into the school.
Maybe they might like to make a donation or be in queue, that sort of thing.
Staff were encouraged to write their wish lists, and the parents group, the Parents and Friends Association, were very keen to get those wishes off staff. I don't think they realised the extent of how long the list would be, or the fact that staff would have as many wishes in fact as they do. And the beauty of the wish list is that it starts with very small attainable things, from maybe reading books for a particular key stage, or for example reading books for boys and reluctant readers in school. Going right through to the huge dreams, which are dreams of £40,000 kitchen renovations. And with the parents group, they know that if they're doing a particular fundraising event, that actually they're raising funds for a particular thing.
the women used to do the walk-in, the men used to look after the children, and we used to do a sponsored walk around the pubs. So we used to... There was no facilities for the parents to go in and have a coffee. We started off in a cupboard in a hall, basically, which was very cramped if you've got more than about 3 people in there. So that she then raised the money, along with other teaching staff, to
to form this parents' room and got it carpeted out and fitted out with chairs and things, and we have, you know, tea and coffee making facilities and toasters.
Jackie believes that the parents' room is already fostering a sense of involvement with the school.
It was really good because I met other parents that perhaps you don't talk to in the playground because you're so busy dropping the kids off and going home. So coming into the parents' room, you get to meet a lot more. You talk, you help run Christmas fairs, you're more of the school environment, you're not just running in and out. So we need a lot more parents to come in with us, really, because I found that when I first started, I didn't know anybody, but now I know most of the parents and most of them know me, so...
As the year unfolds, the governors at these schools will monitor progress to see if the targets are being achieved. It's all part of a cycle that goes on through the year and beyond. First, setting targets, then monitoring change, evaluating performance, and finally creating new goals. And it means that schools can hold events like this one that acknowledge progress and celebrate positive achievements.
It's a celebration of the pupils that have gained their certificates for exams. So it's an annual event. Some years is bigger than others because more pass, you know. I think they deserve it. They've worked hard, you know, they got their certificate, so why not celebrate it at the end of the day?
Last year we had a very difficult year 11. They were in the school for 5 years, and 5 years ago the LEA said to us, you've got to take an extra 20 pupils. That was hard. It destabilised the school for a length of time. We set ourselves a target of 30% 5A to C grades, and right until the May before the exams, we were uncertain that we would reach those targets. It was challenging for within the school context. We used the data at individual pupil level to work out which pupils were off their targets and which ones were on it. And for the pupils that were off target, we put in a very structured mentoring, coaching and support programme bespoke to each individual pupil. Now that soaked up a lot of energy and a lot of resource, but it had an impact. When we got the results back in September, we were delighted to have achieved 32%, which was greater than expectation. What's really good is that tonight we can celebrate the achievement of that cohort and the fact that I think many got to college when they thought they wouldn't.
You were in year 7 when I arrived. I remember little Nash. I remember little JD. It was so sweet.
We thought they had the ability, but they just needed some more dedicated time and support. We're all about trying to achieve targets, and we want to see the school improve its 5A to C grades, and the whole governing body on block voted for that process to happen, because although it was going to cost us some extra money, we felt it was really a worthwhile project. It proved its worth because the stats went up. So that's an issue to look at in the future. We would probably go back and think about that issue again, should that situation arise again. Those pupils did achieve very good results, although they were perhaps borderline cases. And I think the self-esteem that enabled those pupils to gain from the process was very valuable as well. So not only did the school benefit, but the individual pupils benefited as well.